Today, we're going to talk about a way to sharpen your mind that is surprisingly simple, but wow, is it powerful. We're talking about training your working memory.
But hey, before we get bogged down in all the theory, how about we just jump right in? Let's do a quick mental exercise so you can actually feel this in action. It'll be fast, I promise. You ready?
Okay, let's dive into this little brain challenge. The game itself? Super simple. I'm going to say a short sequence of numbers. Your job is just to keep track. And, at the very end, tell me the number that came right before the last one I say. So, listen closely. Here we go.
5,
9,
3,
7.
All right, got your answer locked in? What was that number right before the 7? If you said 3, you absolutely nailed it. Nice job. So, whether you got that instantly or had to kind of rewind in your head for a second, what you just did was fire up a really critical part of your brain. You literally just gave your working memory a quick workout.
You see, that little game wasn't just some random memory trick. Nope, it was targeted training. But what exactly were we targeting? Let's break it down and talk about what working memory really is.
So, the easiest way to think about working memory is like this. It's your brain's active mental workspace. You know, it's not for long-term stuff like your first pet's name. It's more like a temporary sticky note your brain uses for whatever you're doing right now. A perfect example? Remembering a phone number just long enough to type it into your phone. That's your working memory, right there in action.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of that game we just played, because you can totally do this on your own. It's called the number back game, and honestly, its real beauty is just how simple it is.
The process couldn't be easier. Step 1, you just listen to a sequence of numbers. Step 2, you recall the one that came just before the last one, the one back. But here's where it gets really interesting. Step 3 is where you level up. Once one back starts to feel a little too easy, you challenge yourself. Try to recall the number from 2 back or even 3 back. Trust me, that's when you can really feel those mental gears start turning.
I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds almost too simple to actually work, right? But there is some solid science behind why this tiny little game can have such a huge impact. So let's get into it. Why does this work?
Okay, so what's happening in your brain is basically this. The exercise forces you to juggle 3 things at once. You have to absorb the new number, hold on to the recent number, and, this is key, let go of the old ones that aren't relevant anymore. It's this mental juggling act that actually strengthens your focus, improves your attention span, boosts that short-term recall, and just helps your brain process everything a little bit faster.
And we're not talking about some vague, oh, I feel a little smarter kind of improvement. No, the shift is tangible. It's the difference between being easily distracted and having real, solid focus. It's going from forgetting little details to actually remembering what matters. Think of it like a direct upgrade to your brain's processing power.
All right, this all brings us to probably the most important part. How do you make this practical? Because the real, lasting benefits only come when you turn this simple exercise into a consistent habit.
So what's the time commitment here? Are we talking hours a week? Nope, just 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day is all it takes. That's it. You could do this while you're waiting for your coffee to brew, on your commute, or just as a quick mental reset in the middle of a busy workday. It's such a small investment for a huge return on your mental clarity. And this really nails the core idea here. You know, sometimes the most effective tools are the ones that are the most straightforward. This game is the perfect example of that. Simple? Yes. Powerful? Absolutely.
Look, at the end of the day, this isn't really about remembering a list of numbers. It's about building that fundamental capacity for focus and attention. So, the final question I want to leave you with is this. What could a stronger, sharper focus actually unlock for you? Maybe it's better performance at work, maybe it's being more present with your family, or getting more enjoyment out of your hobbies. It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.